Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's April 10th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And a couple of things real quick before we get to our chart lesson. The news indicator does appear to be working. I had two or three items listed today, including the FOMC announcement, which is this blue box here. We want to pretty much stay out about an hour before, so from 12 to about when it looks like it's settled down again. I've got it marked. Really, I'd probably say you wanted to stay out of this really till about right there, about 30 minutes. Although that's not really that volatile, but that's a pretty good little shakeup right there, and you want to wait for it to, at some point it's probably going to bounce and try to take back the move, which it did, and we actually went a little bit higher and then had another leg up. You really have two legs up here. So, but anyway, you want to stay out of that blue. Again, you can see the red line here is the close from yesterday, the yellow line, the opening, so that was the gap in there. Notice we never quite filled that gap from this point. Notice how we never got down there, so there's still a little bit of a gap on the daily chart. Not much, maybe a two or three ticks there. It's mostly just flat sideways, and it's just not much happening here. This is a hard market to trade. Most people, this is where they get whipsawed over and over. This is where you need to pretty much forget about failures and second entries and so forth, and just look for entries and higher lows off the lows and shorts and lower highs off the highs. That's really the only way you can trade this safely, and otherwise you're better off just to stay out of this stuff. That's this right here. This is just too tight. We are coming off the high. You might be interested in a short right there that would have worked, but other than that one, I mean, that's just a lot of congestion. I'd probably skip that, but I'll mark it in green because that one is one that you'd probably, with this being a range, you might be interested in. Of course, there is the trend working up, so you got to be aware of that. I want to talk about this when we get there as well. But now, not a lot of trades. This won't take long today. One other thing while I'm thinking about it, I am going to, we'll wrap up our week tomorrow, and then I'm going to actually have, it's going to be a longer weekend because there's no chart lessons on Fridays, but I won't be here Monday because I have a doctor's appointment to have a follow-up checkup on my eye, my detached retina issue. For any of those that are y'all that are new, 3 or 4 months ago I had a detached retina and had to have surgery, and so I'm still struggling a little bit with my eye. I'm still not back to full time at the screen yet. I'm trying to trade a couple hours every day, and but I'm trying to limit my time somewhere between 2 and 3 hours a day at the screen, and that's pretty much all I'm spending here. So otherwise, I'm not sitting here looking at it like I usually do. So anyway, I won't be here Monday, so we'll have a long extended weekend. We won't just not have one on Friday. There won't be one on Monday either. So if you're looking for a chart lesson on Monday, there won't be one because I'll be on my way to Memphis to the specialist that did my eye surgery for a follow-up visit. So I'm hoping he's going to release me at this point. Everything's looking fairly well. For those of you that have had a couple of people ask me, um, my vision is better. As far as the retina detachment, that part I think is solid. The issue you have with the retina detachment with the gas bubble they put in your eye, where I had to keep my head down for 10 to 15 days, the issue there was that it causes you to have a cataract. That gas bubble often causes a cataract, and I didn't think I was going to have that issue, but at this point I think I am, because my vision was so much better in that eye after I had the surgery. I could actually see out of that eye, except for the little wrinkle that you have. It's hard to describe, but you have a little wrinkle where they repaired it, and it, but outside of that wrinkle where they repaired the detachment, I could actually see better out of that eye. My vision was very clear. I had 20/20 vision basically, but that's not the case now. It's slowly. He told me and warned me that it would probably happen. When I say he, my doctor. But I do believe that I have a cataract forming there now. So because it's just a little cloudy Um, it doesn't really affect my vision up close, but it really affects my distance vision. So my distance vision in my left eye is really good, and but I can't see up close. And then in my right eye, which is where I had the detached retina, my distance vision is terrible now, but I can see real good up close. So they kind of offset each other, but it's a little hard to get used to that because you're always looking in. It throws your depth perception off, and so there's some issues going on with it. If I stare at the screen too long, I start to get headaches. So, but anyway, I'm getting better, and I'm probably going to have cataract surgery in that eye. And if I do that one, I'll probably do the other one. They said I had a baby cataract in the other one that would probably have to be done before long. So if I do one, I'll probably go ahead and do them both. But anyway, enough about me and my eye issues. Just wanted to let you know that there wouldn't be a chart lesson Monday because I won't be here. I won't be trading. I'll be taking a trip to Memphis to my eye doctor. So anyway, let's back out a little bit here, make it a little bigger, and go through the trades. Again, it won't take long because there's not many. Just remember on these range days, what you're looking to do is enter long off the lows and short off the highs. And that's really the only way you can trade this. And a lot of times you'll look for a higher low if you've got room to get out, or a lower high off the top if you've got room to get out before you get back to the bottom. So 7 o'clock came right in here somewhere, and you really just had to sit tight here. There's a second entry long right here, right off the lows of this range. We had a little failed break higher. Then we had a higher low, not a very good signal bar. Then we make another one here, and that's a decent signal bar, and this is a double top, so first entry, second entry. So it is a second entry long, although that's not always as important when you're just going sideways up and down like this. That turns out to be a nice move. We do go to the top. You get a lower high here. You still got room to get out. I like going short right there on that nice bearish bar. And where does it bounce? Right here at these lows again. So you got just enough room to get out of there. Then it bounces. And I like going long here. Generally, you want to wait on a higher low. But this is a higher low from here. And there's two attempts to go lower, although you want to be careful trading failures here. I don't think you can ignore this. And plus, if you see all those matching lows right there and it's like the supported climbed a little higher, and then you get that little move down and it bounces, and that is a second entry. There's two legs down, so I like going long there. There's a higher low here with enough room to get out. Not a very good signal bar. It works, but you don't know that ahead of time, and you don't get a very good signal bar here, or this would have maybe been a nice little ride down, and it comes all the way back down to this low. And at this point, I'd have had this up here. I ended up moving it down because it dropped a little later on, but you may take this trade. Look how far we are away from the EMA. It's a little failed break lower. It makes a double bottom here. Nice bullish bar. There is a trend line working down that we haven't had a break of or anything, so you got to be careful of that. But being that far away from the EMA, we're probably headed back. So you may take that one. Better to wait on a higher low, and you just don't get one. You get a higher low here, but there's no entry, and you just kind of start going sideways. And then you get a little lower high right here. Fall back below. You break higher and turns down. I like that one. It's real close to being green because there's not a lot of room down to here, but if you really, your entry would be one tick below. It actually went higher and turns down, so it's like a trap. And so your entry would be one tick below this bar, the bullish bar. And if you got enough room, you probably want to take that one. If you don't, it'd probably be considered a little aggressive. But if you measure this one up here, and it looks like we're trying to go lower with a lower high here, there's a couple of ways I would have looked at this. I would measure this leg, and I look for a measured leg down, which you can see we basically got a perfect measured leg to the tick, and that leaves you plenty of room to get out right there. You barely got enough room to these lows, but if you measure this move here, your next move is going to be way down here. And you can see that's where we actually went to, and that's where your measured move goes to. So saying all that, I like that one to the short side. Again, you know, it's close to being green. Then we bounce here. You get a double bottom, and you just got some congestion. Very bearish bar. We come back down. You actually make a higher low right here, but we're still just kind of going lower, and I want to wait on a higher low. There's a second entry right here. Again, this is more of a bullish bar than bearish, but it's almost neutral. And finally, you get a higher low right here, and you just want to make sure you probably got enough room to get out here. We're probably, after testing that many times, we're probably going to head back up here, but you might get stuck here a few times, and so you got to be careful with that. But then it comes back again, and you get a nice bullish bar here. I like that one. It is a second entry. Look at that high. First entry, second entry. And everything's starting to close above the EMA. We're probably going to head back up here, and you're just looking for the entry. And that is a failed second entry short. There's a new low, first entry, second entry. Although, again, you got to be careful with those. Off it goes, pulls back. There's another second entry here, but this bar is not good enough. You could have used this for your signal bar, but it's right into that high, those highs right there. It's almost like a triple top. I don't think you want to enter there. It's too big a bar. And then it does come back and confirm the trend line. This is the one I want to talk about. Notice how you got all that support right there on the, that was the 830 open. And then we fall below it, and then it's acting as resistance. So it's tempting to go long right there above that bar. But notice you got 1, 2, 3. It is off a key entry point, but you got 3 matching highs there. You might want to wait on a higher low. And if you do that, then you don't get burned right here. But if you go long right there on that second entry, it breaks higher, trades up, turns back down, and you ended up getting burned just to watch it go exactly where you thought it would go. So notice there's 3 bars stacked up there before this one breaks higher. So, and that support resistance line is right in play there. You may have taken that one. It looks good. It's very tempting. I can see why you'd like it. I actually like it. The only problem I see is those 3 matching highs and that support resistance line. If you got burned there, not much you can do. You just get burned on that. And that happens sometimes on range days like this. It happens sometimes anytime, but on range days like this where you've got a lot of chop and it's going into the going into an FOMC announcement, you just never know what's going to happen. But we move up, and I already talked about this. There's just too much overlap, and you just got failures in both directions, and you just get chopped up. The only thing I will say is we are coming off the high, which we tested it. We made a lower high, and then we made a double test of that, and a nice bearish bar. So you may go short right there. The thing is, you just got to make sure that you got room to get out here. So if you don't, you may have to let it break lower and come back and drop a limit order to make sure you give yourself enough room. And then it actually makes another lower high right here. Same thing. If you got enough room, of course you got 2 bar matching low there, but you would have liked to see it break higher and go all the way out in 1 bar, but you just don't have much room back to that support resistance. So it's the same problem. So you may have to let it break lower and drop a limit order and see if you can get filled. So, under those circumstances, maybe you take that as an aggressive trade, but I just think you're better off just to completely stay out of this. Because you don't want to get trapped in something going sideways. Actually, if you couldn't get out of this one, you're going to get trapped and it trades up and you would have got stopped out only to watch it go lower in the end. And then, of course, we just want to stay out in here. There is a nice setup right here. There's a higher low, and it goes lower and turns up, and you're expecting it to probably go back up here. So that's a nice setup, but it's just too close to that. It's inside that noon hour, and you can see how we started going sideways right there. I've seen it sometimes do that right there, just side-by-side bars for an hour before the news hits. So you got to be careful of that. So I just stay out of that. Same thing here. Your volatility's going on. Just stay out. And then finally you get a higher low right here on a little breakout pullback where the previous resistance was for most of the day, as you can see across there. and it actually breaks lower, turns, and goes out the other side. So you may go long there. It's right at the 2 o'clock hour, so it's probably going to trap some shorts as it goes on higher. But again, it's probably one I would just skip. I probably wouldn't have really, if you look at this thing realistically from 10 o'clock on, there really wasn't trade today. A couple of aggressive ones because we lost in pretty much an hour and a half right here, and then we really lost almost an hour and a half right here as well. So that's the meat of your trading day right through there, and there's just nothing happening. And so, really once 10 o'clock hit, that was pretty much it for the day. This was a long, boring day if you sat here all day looking for trades. So hopefully it'll pick up. It gets like this sometimes, especially in the summer, but it won't be long. Something will happen, and we'll get a lot of volatility, and it'll go crazy again. So anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. If you felt like you sat here and did nothing all day, don't beat yourself up because there really just wasn't a lot of trades. And I always try to tell people sometimes the best trade is no trade. So if you couldn't find a trade, don't beat yourself up over it. If you didn't take some of these trades, and you probably did the right thing because it's just one of those days where there's not a lot of good setups. And really the only way to trade it is to sell the highs and buy the lows. And you got a few chances early on, then you got a couple of chances maybe off these lows, and that was about it. So you just really didn't have anything the rest of the day. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll try to get the, like I said, the news indicators working. I'll try to get that uploaded soon. I'm also going to try to, I still haven't had time to really mess with the new opening gap indicator. I'll try to play with it and upload it. It's maybe a little bit, according to the guy that wrote it, Steve, it's a little bit easier to do than this one. So this one works fine for me, but if the other one's easier, we'll get it uploaded and help, so some of you that are not as computer literate can maybe get it uploaded, and might be some assistance to you. So and again, no chart lesson on Friday or Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll wrap it up tomorrow, and I'll remind you, but just remember, no chart lessons on Friday or Monday. Monday because of my doctor's appointment. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.